Hello friends. It has been a minute since I posted a video to our Dreaming of Vegas channel, and I wanted to give you a quick update on where my sister and I are at with our planning, and I really wanted to highlight three things. One is going to be our reservations for restaurants, two is going to be some surprises we ran into while planning, and three is going to be a little bit about transportation and how we plan to get from point A to point B. So let's dive in. First, restaurants. We have been to Vegas a million times and we have our favorites, but we always want to try new restaurants. And so that usually prompts me to book a reservation well in advance. I know they can book up. I know it can be hard to get a reservation, so we never leave that to the last minute. That being said, one of the things I encountered while planning for this trip is that you really can't make a reservation everywhere very far out. So I want to talk about four specific restaurants that we're looking at. One is a fan favorite that we've been to a bunch of times. The other three are new to us. So the first one I want to talk about is Delilah. Delilah is a restaurant located in Wynn, and it is an upscale supper club type vibe. They have live music. The food looks phenomenal. In particular, there are two things that caught my eye on this menu. One is the beef Wellington for two, which is not something I would normally get. Not something I actually see very frequently on a menu. Maybe I'm going to the wrong restaurants, but it sounds phenomenal. That drew my eye. And the second, of course, I look at the sweets and the desserts. There is something called a Kendall Slutty Brownie, which sounds divine. And it's conveniently located at the Wynn, which is where my sister and I are going to see Awakening. So I wanted to make sure we got a decent reservation time that coincides with our 9:30 show. I was very surprised when I went on to book it and quickly found out they don't book more than a month out. So I've got that on my calendar, my to-do list, a month from our trip start date to go in and book that reservation. Very surprising to me. Second is Yellowtail at Bellagio. This is a fan favorite. We have been there many times. It's a really nice Asian themed restaurant. They have really great sushi. It's actually quite large. It's right off the casino floor in Bellagio, just down a bit from Lago, right as you're kind of exiting this casino on the way to the Bellagio shops. That's where it's located. We have never sat in the restaurant. I've sat at the bar and I've sat at the little area that's right on the casino floor. It's almost like a little patio inside, and it's great for people watching. My favorite on that menu is the Pop Rock sushi. My sister thinks it's a little weird. I think it's delicious. It's got this really cool popping sensation, if you remember the Pop Rock candy, and it tastes really good. So I went to book that reservation because we will be there over my birthday. That was my choice for my birthday dinner. The big dinner really is Delilah, but on the day of my birthday, I decided I wanted to enjoy Yellowtail. You also cannot book more than a month out for Yellowtail. That was shocking to me. I was really, really surprised by that. I feel like in the past I've made a reservation that was further out. I've also actually been in Vegas for a conference and made a reservation there the day of. So maybe that's why, maybe it doesn't get super crowded and they're able to manage reservations, but that also has gone on the reminder with Delilah to book that. The fourth restaurant is Gordon Ramsay Burger. Now, the one we want to go to is at Planet Hollywood, and I say that because at the time we were discussing it, there wasn't another Gordon Ramsay. However, they are opening one at the Flamingo. We are planning to go to Vegas in September of this year, and I have a feeling it'll be open by then, but our day's plans are going to take us down to that end, the Planet Hollywood end of the strip. So it made sense to book a Planet Hollywood Gordon Ramsay burger. That one I was able to make no problem. Made the reservation without any issue. just so you know, they also offer this sort of package deal where you can sit by the kitchen and actually watch them make the food and then have a conversation with the chef and the manager. It's an extra $25 a person. It doesn't include any kind of food or anything. It's just an experience. But if that's something you're really into and you love to watch all the Gordon Ramsay cooking shows, and maybe you're an amateur cook yourself, kind of a cool experience. We did not opt for that. The last restaurant I want to talk about is the Tea Lounge at Waldorf Astoria. This looks so fantastic. So my sister and I have done high tea at a bunch of different places in and around the Chicago area, a lot of which are closed now. There was a place in Long Grove, Illinois called Seasons of Long Grove. They did a high tea and it was absolutely phenomenal, and that has been closed for quite some time. So the Tea Lounge at Waldorf seemed like a great option. They do switch up the menu every season, so they just launched their spring 2024 menu, which looks great. It's all kinds of different tea sandwiches. It's bottomless mimosas if you'd like. They have different flavors of bellinis, and of course, tea. I could not book that more than a month out. This one does kind of make sense to me because of the nature of the changing menu. I don't know, something about that seemed to make sense. I think by the time we go, I'm not sure if September is going to still have the summer menu or if they'll have flipped into fall. But regardless, that goes on the list of reminders as well. So if there's a restaurant that you're really interested in that seems like maybe it's really popular, I would say always look ahead of time, but it seems as though the trend is to not offer reservations as far out as I remember booking when we went in 2022. So heads up on that. So I want to talk about two surprises that we ran into as we were planning this trip. One good surprise and one not so great surprise. The first one is a great surprise, and it has to do with the volcano at Mirage. Now, my sister and I have been traveling to Vegas for well over 20 years. I believe 1996 was my first trip to Vegas. Ooh, it seems like a really long time ago. And in all of those trips, we have seen the volcano at Mirage erupt many, many times. It is a really cool experience, especially if you're close. You feel the heat. It's a cool show, and it's 100% free. What we thought was going to happen based on some of the videos that we had seen on YouTube is that the days were numbered for the volcano. And I say that because for the Super Bowl this year in February, they built up a huge Paramount mountain on top of the volcano. And allegedly it was like a ski chalet kind of theme. You could go inside it. I never actually saw it. I was waiting at the Super Bowl for them to show something. I never saw it. If you were there and you saw it, please comment below and let me know what you thought, because it looked really cool in theory. Now, because of that, I was sort of under the impression, my sister and I both were, that was sort of it for the actual erupting of the Mirage volcano. However, look down their website, and if you go under amenities and you scroll down, the volcano's still listed there, and it actually lists the times that it erupts nightly. So I am fingers crossed that that will not change in the next few months, and that when we're there in September, we will get to see it erupt one last time. One thing we were hoping to do one last time was gamble at the Trop. So Tropicana announced that they would be closing and they would be demolished to make way for a large baseball stadium. Now, for some reason, maybe it was denial, we kind of hoped it wasn't going to be the end of Trop until we got our last trip in. I don't know why they weren't thinking about us and our needs when they closed it, but it officially closed on April 2nd. So unfortunately, we're not going to get to see it. Now, there is a chance that we'll still get to see the structure, They haven't announced a date to actually demolish it yet, which will draw a huge crowd, I'm sure, and be a big spectacle on the Strip. So there's a 50-50 chance that we'll still see at least part of it standing when we're there in September, but they have till October to actually go through with the full demolition. So we'll see. I will say I did get to stay at the Trop many, many years ago, and the pool area was really cool. It was actually before they went through a major renovation, which by the time my brother, sister, and I all went in 2012, it had been renovated. And when my sister and I went just 2 years ago in 2022, it looked like it had been refreshed again a little bit. The casino itself, kind of a fun old school Vegas vibe. But I will say the rooms were pretty basic, and they were clean, they were fine. But the one thing that really sticks with me is their towels. The only way I can describe them is hospital towels. They were so small and so thin and threadbare. It was like drying yourself with kind of sandpaper or Kleenex, somewhere between the two. So rest in peace, Trop. I'm curious and excited to see them build the new stadium there, but that definitely was a Las Vegas icon that is no more. Last piece, transportation. So my sister and I love to walk, and typically that's our entire trip. We just walk everywhere, and it's really not a big deal. Usually we stay towards I always grew up north and south end of the Strip. You'd think after 20 some years I would get this straight, but we usually stay at Bellagio. So it's a little bit mid-Strip almost, so it's a good place to stay in terms of getting from here to there. This time, however, we're staying at the Palazzo, which is much further at one end. And therefore, we've had to start to come up with a game plan for how are we going to get from point A to point B. The biggest piece for us in this trip as well is that we want to go downtown. We haven't done downtown in quite some time. We've watched a lot of videos. It looks like it's really revitalized. They've got some cool things going on down there. They've got pink box donuts at Circa. They've got the Carousel Bar, which we really want to check out. It's been on our list for the last several trips to do Slotzilla, the zip line that's down there. So because of that, we started to map out our plan for transportation. Now, short trips, for example, from Palazzo to downtown, we'll take an Uber, no big deal. But one thing I want to make sure that you're aware of is the monorail. The monorail is a really, really great option to get on the one side of the Strip, on the MGM side. It runs from MGM all the way to Sahara with a bunch of stations in between. So it really does cut down the walking time. You're still gonna walk. Vegas is very much a walking city. However, the monorail makes it really easy and convenient, especially if you're staying more towards MGM, to get all the way down and check out Sahara, which by the way is a really cool hotel. Westgate is also a stop on the monorail, so you can head all the way down to Sahara, check that out, and take it one stop back to Westgate, check that out, and it comes back to the link. Lots of options, and it's really affordable. I believe a full day pass is $13, and you can do a 2-day for $24. They do deals, so the more days that you decide to use the pass, the more economical it is. So I highly suggest that you check out the different monorail stops and get familiar with it, see what makes sense for you. But that's our update. So next time we'll check back in and I'll let you know a little bit about what else is going on. But I hope this was helpful. Please comment below. When are you going? What shows are you going to see? What restaurants are you into? And check back for more updates on our trip planning. Bye.